Today I'm taking you along on how I prepare for the interview podcast, Perceptions of Purpose, where I'm talking with entrepreneurs, freelancers, creatives to explore how they got started, how they organize themselves, what tools and technology they rely on, as well as the mindset they've had to adopt to grow. The conversations are truly inspiring, letting you in on processes and lessons they've had to learn the hard way so you can skip them and adapt their lessons to your own projects. Who do I interview? Initially, I brainstormed people that I know that are working independently. For now, they are either from the hospitality industry, owning cafes and restaurants, or working as coffee professionals, or they work in the creative industry as designers, directors, writers, and so on. I'm generally interested to speak with anyone who's stepping outside their comfort zone and building something for themselves. In what order did I start? I chose the people I felt most comfortable to talk to first. Everyone I've interviewed so far I've known personally for some time, which made the whole experience a bit less stressful. I understand not everyone may have friends that are self-employed, but depending on the kind of podcast you'd like to start, you either have the knowledge or some connections in that area, right? If not, what are you waiting for? I'll talk about networking in another video, so make sure you're subscribed if this interests you. Asking questions and leading a conversation is way harder than I anticipated, but I've enjoyed doing it a lot from the start. With every recording, I feel more confident, develop stronger skills to make the conversation smoother, coherent, and interesting. Inviting the guests. Okay, so I've chosen the people I'd like to include in my project, but I still need to ask them to be a part of it. I elaborated a short explanation of what Imma Studio is about and represents, what the interview will be like, what kind of questions I'll ask them, and how long it will approximately take. Somehow, this part initially made me the most nervous because I guess I was scared they would say no, which one, wouldn't bother me anymore at all, and two, hasn't happened yet either. Responses have been more than positive, telling me how they love the concept and are really happy to be a part of it, which obviously makes my day every time. At this point, we've agreed we'll have a chat eventually, but we still need to decide a day we film. So together, generally, this implies 2 hours of their time, just to be generous. For me, it's more like 4 hours, but I'll get to that in a minute. This is pretty self-explanatory, right? Like, for me, the most important part is that we start to film at 3:30, the latest, above all because of light conditions. The rest is just figuring out when can we make it work. Question research. Cool. So now we have a date fixed. Now we only need to figure out what we want to ask our guest. The following steps depend a little on whether the person has already given any interviews or not. But it's very easy to be adapted. Initially, I brainstormed all the questions myself, and it took a whole lot of time until I started using our trusty assistant, ChatGPT. So AI actually helps a lot in showing me options at any stop of this process and actually makes it easier for me to grasp what I was already having in mind in the first place. Round 1, research. I ask him to look for previous interviews the person may have given, get a list of questions they've been asked, ordered by topic, list of links to the respective interviews they gave to be able to check them out as well, and also have a summary of the most asked questions, what they liked replying to the most, what is considered the most interesting about their person, as well as their profession, and questions that they maybe even disliked replying to, or that they had a contrarian or alternative opinion to. Read through those and get an approximate feeling for the convos they've had. And if they've never given a previous interview, I describe them and their profession best as I can to receive a whole array of optional questions to ask for the different subtopics that I've previously defined during this process. I realize which direction I actually subconsciously already wanted to go into. And the more I describe the situation, the more I come up with questions that have already been floating around in my mind, but that I didn't manage to put on paper. So I have other ideas that come up in the process, which I make sure to write down too. And many times I did think I'd remember, and obviously I didn't, so now I write it down. Round 2, question ideation. ChatGPT gives me 10 questions for each type of question: direct, narrative, anecdotal, and theoretical, for each of the 3 main topics that I've defined in the past. So I brainstorm that section. In this part, I just pick any question I like from the options that I've been given. I either adapt the question right away or leave them as they are for now, while I also come up with my own new questions in the process. Then again, the vastness of questions I am given sparks a lot of creativity for me, and I will end up with more questions I come up with myself or modified versions of the original one ChatGPT gave me. And it helps so much to get some kind of input and like modify it to what it actually was meant to be than to need to come up with it myself. That's just how I work, and this made the process way less stressful and overwhelming, and I really enjoy starting with the questions now, as beforehand I sometimes was like being anxious about even like finding any right ones, you know? So having this on paper already is just like nice. Choosing the final questions. Oh my God, this is the hardest part ever. First, as I said, I'm anxious about not finding interesting questions for the specific new profile I'll be talking to. And once I do have a lot of questions to choose from, I find it really hard to kick any of them out. I usually end up limiting myself to 4 to 5 questions per main topic area, meaning about 12 to 15 questions in total, sometimes choosing from 40 to 60 brainstormed questions. So once I believe I have a final structure, I actually go through those questions, writing down 1 to 2 keywords per question in the order I initially think of asking them. So I check if I cover too many similar things, if the flow is kind of logical, if questions are on some points possible to connect, and also adjust the order of the questions to add, erase, and replace. This ideally should be done about 2 to 3 days before the interview at the very latest, but honestly, because I'm a last-minute worker, I'm still often done by the day before. Let's see if this ever changes, but I'd like to be able to practice and rehearse the questions like 2 times every day and right before the interview. So now it's more like an evening thing, like I repeat them for myself at night, and then like first thing in the morning I do it again. Then I prep the whole room, as I'm gonna tell you about now, and then I rehearse again, just like before starting. Has worked so far, but like it would just be probably a bit more reassuring if I had more time to prepare. Et voila, we are ready to prepare the shooting. So in my case, that means arrange the room. My apartment is small. The living room area is about 25 square meters or so, and the couch is not usually standing where it stands in the interviews. Actually, it's like right here right now, and in the interviews it's like more or less where I'm sitting. I spent so many hours figuring out the ideal position of the couch in my apartment, how to move things around so that the background is nice as well, what is the best angle to shoot from in terms of light, while it also needs to be quick to set up and break down again because like I live here. The first few times it took me forever to move things around and get it right again, but now it's like a 20-minute moving around of stuff, and just another proof you need to do things a few times until you get better and faster. Setting up lights. My apartment is actually quite bright, but I do have 2 small lights that help brighten everything up a bit more. Then I set up the tripods and cameras. I used to only shoot with my phone for the first 7 interviews. Recently, I got an update to the camera I'm filming on now, the Sony ZV-1F. I've shot 2 interviews with it so far, and unfortunately for me, it's been quite the learning experience in terms of the focus area of the footage. I did a trial with me sitting in the frame, and that was fine, but with 2 people, the focus went out of control and focused somewhere in the background, leaving us slightly blurry. Rookie mistake. Also still had the soft skin effect active, which gives the whole shot like a milky blur. Looks like I need to level up my camera knowledge for this camera in terms of manual settings to actually get the most out of it for the interviews. For talking head videos, it's like this one. It's actually ideal and easy to manage, but there's 2 people and more possible focus points. It seems to get a bit confused and where to settle. which also is something quite common for any camera. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you have any experience with the Sony ZV-1F, let me know in the comments, please. Any help is greatly appreciated. For sound, I use external sound recording with microphones. I bought them off of Amazon for about 30 euros, I think, and I'm very happy with the sound so far. There obviously are way better options out there to eventually level up, but for now I'm very happy with these. I also painted these little sticks to be able to hold on to them. I like the idea of having something in my hands, and many people don't really know what to do with their hands, so I did this with the intention for everyone to feel more comfortable. The other day, one interviewee preferred to have the mic clipped to his shirt, so that's what we did. That is all. And then we shoot. I've tried to go as much in detail with this as possible. I wonder if I've skipped anything that you would consider interesting or that you're still struggling with. If you have any questions, as you know, just drop them down in the comments. We are a beautifully small community, and I'm still able to reply to any comment myself. And yeah, if you want to check out any of the interviews, I'm gonna link them in whatever corner up there that you link the interviews. And also there'll be more behind the scenes informational tool and recommendation videos coming on podcasting, but also as Imma is a space for creativity, organization, and mindset. It will just cover a little bit of all of this. If you would prefer to read or only listen to everything I've just spoken about, I have all of the content that I post in every format available. Again, down in the description section, you'll find everything, and I hope to catch you soon. Bye!